Today, we're headed out to the southwest corner of Colorado, just west of Cortez, Colorado. Headed out to the Hovenweep National Monument out in the canyons of the ancients. The mountain in front of us here is the Sleeping Ute. This road that we're on, County Road 27, will take us out into the desert. Ultimately, where we're headed is into the tribal lands that they call a checkerboard, because there's just a lot of every other section, I think it is privately owned versus tribal Navajo land. We're going through McElmo Canyon right now, and it is just absolutely beautiful out here, especially with the fall colors. A lot of truck gardens out here, ranching, quite a famous area. In fact, it was along this road in 1998 that three desperados who'd stolen a water truck in Ignacio, Colorado, were stopped on a bridge in Cortez where they murdered a deputy sheriff, jumped back in the water truck, and took this road to make their escape into the desert. Today, however, we're going to do a painting. This area, the whole southwest area around the Four Corners, is so rich in the ancestral pueblos. Ruins that can be most of which can be easily accessed and are just wonderful subject matter. Here's a rock overhanging right by the side of the road. We just pulled over and got these pictographs. This is the old Ismay trading post just before we cross into Utah. Now we're into Utah. This is all part of the Great Sage Plain. Huge, wide open, flat country. You can see forever out here. This is the turnoff to Hovenweep National Monument. We're still on pavement. This will turn to gravel here in a little bit. But it's a long way out here. It's 9 more miles on this road from the turnoff on that paved road. That's the Sleeping Ute mountain. We're kind of headed back to the southeast a little bit. Now we're on to National Monument land, I think. That border with the cattle guard. Gets plenty warm out here in the summertime. If you're going to hike, there's just unlimited amount of land to hike on. You want to be prepared, however. Sunscreen, floppy hat, water, lots of water. Here we are. There's a concrete path that leads out to an overlook from the visitor center here. Unfortunately, the visitor center was closed this day. We took the concrete path out to the overlook, and the views were just fantastic. A lot of structures out there in various stages of disrepair, I guess. Some of them are in better shape than others, and it was difficult to pick one to paint. But this is the one I did choose. Unfortunately, There's kind of a sign right there, but I managed to work around it. This is my camera setup, so I can record this as you're watching. Now here I'm just going to sketch in some, well, I don't want to say outline, but placement of objects, so I can get a feel for composition is what I'm getting at. What appealed to me about this scene are the two towers across the way. One is a little larger than the other, and they're sitting down off the edge of that canyon rim. But the light was great, and some cast shadows that we'll see in the painting here. Now I'm just going to sketch in a basic idea of where I want these at. Everything's always is subject to modification, let me put it that way. We start off with an idea in my mind, and sometimes a painting takes on a life of its own as you're working on it. And other times it's pretty plain and simple what needs to be done. There's a lot of information out there in front of me, as with most plein air type paintings. And it just has to be edited. One can't include it all, and it would be terribly confusing. So the two towers there are the focal point of the subject of this painting, and everything I do will be to support them. You can see here where I've kind of laid in the shadow for the towers and a little bit of shadow along the rim of the cliff. And I'll complete that across there. Just below half on that panel. Because there's a lot of interest in the foreground that I wanted to include. And it would have been real easy to lower that even further and make more of the sky in the background. But this isn't a painting about the sky. It's about this country, the ruins, and the harshness of the landscape. Now it's always easier to lighten a dark than it is to darken a light. So if it looks like I'm a little dark on this panel with the paint, you would be correct. But I can lighten that up as I need to. When we first came down the concrete path toward this viewing area, I had stepped off of the path and was going to set up with another view of the canyon, and I was admonished for getting off of the trail. So consequently, we moved on down, and here's where we're at. My wife Kathy is with me today, and we brought our dog Stella. It's a beautiful day. The weather the whole time, this is in October, and it's just been absolutely gorgeous. Not too hot, but warm and comfortable. We're staying in our travel trailer in Cortez, Colorado. A great little RV park right downtown. Easy access. the whole area around where we're at, part of the Canyon of the Ancients. There's a great visitor center in just outside of Dolores, Colorado, which is not far from Cortez, and just a 10-minute drive, and you're there, kind of headed north. And it's a great museum. It used to be known as the Anasazi Museum, and now it's a Museum of the Canyonlands, I guess. Here I'm just starting to lay in some color on the towers. I'll include a link in the description to Hovenweep National Monument, the National Park Service, and they have some great information on it. I wish I knew the details right off the top of my head. Essentially, the Anasazi, the ancient ones, inhabited the area from about 300 or 400 AD to early 1300s, where they left the area. And there's been some discussion and controversy as to where they went to or what happened to them, as well as why they left. I think it's coming down to primarily a matter of drought. This is very, very arid country out here. We live in Montrose, Colorado, and I think our annual rainfall there is in the neighborhood of around 10 inches. And this area here, farther out in the desert, I bet they're closer to 4 inches. Of course, this is in October of 2024, so it's a different climate than what they may have experienced. Although I think historically it's just a very arid landscape. And the idea of drought probably drove them out. As far as where they went, the current Pueblo Indians around Santa Fe and Taos in New Mexico, they claim to be the descendants of the Anasazi, which sounds logical to me, but I'm not the historian. All right, I'm just going to continue to refine this and develop it as we go. Here in this view, you can see where I've lightened up the shadows and more closely represent what I'm actually seeing. And then adding some color to the rim, those flat rocks. from here on, it's really just a matter of getting in and applying a little bit of detail here and there, kind of tightening up some edges and putting the final touches on it. When you're out painting on location like this, especially in a public area, you get visitors who stop by from time to time, and it's always fun to chat with them. And sometimes you meet another artist, and sometimes you sell a painting. I don't remember where these folks were from, but we had a little bit of a visit. Of course, they all like to get in where the artist is because they figure that I've picked the best viewpoint, which may or may not be true. Now behind me here, I have to show you is my peanut gallery. That's Stella and my wife Kathy. They're enjoying the shade right there. And they are most important because her job is to tell me when to stop. And right now, I'm getting a stop. Hey, stop, before I ruin it. This is a canyon overlook at the Hovenweep National Park. Thanks for watching.